Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Amuse Jester. My name is Junior. Um, so what is this video all about? So you probably saw my first custom Vamp Jeep, which is this one right here. This is the second customized one. We can tell because there's no pilots or anything. The first one was basically a very quick custom attempt to see if I can do what I was planning, how it was gonna come out, and all that stuff. And then a lot of rough stuff and everything. That's why sometimes you saw it was kind of wobbly and everything. So this now is, now that I'm confident that I was what I was able to do and what I could do, this now is a second attempt to make things a little bit more streamlined, a little bit more better looking. So the first thing you probably see is now, of course, the gun turret is on the top over here. It's magnetized as it was before. Before, this thing was wobbly because what I had done was I had temporarily done I put the magnet inside and I put a tape just to hold it in, just to make sure. um and so let me just lift this really quickly. And this is the old setup, as you can tell, and I forgot to paint this one. And this is when I did this one. It's going to be a really quick explanation. The video after this is basically the long one with a speeded up video on how I did things on this part, okay? So what I did in this one is I drilled a hole right through here, about the same size as a magnet, and then I put a plastic that I glued on the top, and then I glued the magnet on this. I wasn't sure if that's going to hold. It did hold, so that's fine. That's what I did on this side. Now, what I changed on this side was I added a second magnet, a bigger one, basically stuck it in there. So there's actually a double magnet in there now. So it basically holds a lot stronger. It's not as wobbly. Everything's all evened out. So let me just take this out. So what did I change on this one over here? Same setup, as you can see. This is a smoothed out version. And then this is almost the same where I drilled a hole just enough to put in the smaller magnet, but instead of grabbing a piece of plastic, I grabbed a secondary bigger magnet that I glued on underneath the belly. So basically, instead of plastic, you have a double magnet in here. The second thing I did too was I tried to sand out this one to make it smooth, and I still can. It's just that if I do that, then I have to sand this over completely, and I'm not sure if I can get the finish that I want. As you can see, I kind of painted it over. In person, as it's not as evident that I painted it over. It's just I can see in the camera now that it stands out pretty good. So this one I didn't, and now that I see the difference between the two in terms of how it holds, there's basically no difference. And I kind of wish that I had modified this one first before I had sanded this off, because I can see now that sanding this off was not necessary. The second thing I did, so this is the old one, right? So I streamlined that. So now it looks like this. Again, I'm not going to explain it too much. You're going to see it in the video. There's basically, I did the shaping of this one, as you saw in this video, as the same one. We're using foam board, insulation foam board. And I just basically started cutting shapes, templates, and then putting the shape into the foam board and everything like that. There's 3 steps that I did in this one. Once I got the general shape of the chair and the console, and this is how the chair inside looks compared to this one over here. Oops. Once I got a template down, I went ahead and kind of primed it using a contact glue. So that way, if I were to paint it with any kind of acrylic paint, it won't destroy the foam board inside. It just creates a surface, a primed surface for it, so it's not affected. The secondary attempt, you could have stopped there, by the way. But the second thing I did was I basically used Gorilla Tape and taped over all the surfaces. Um, just again to further seal it. But like I guess I said, you could have stopped the foam board and then over the tape, I went ahead and painted the tape, and then I just printed out these control panels, and then I just glued it. This is, and then I switched this one. I cut it in half and I put it on both sides, and of course I put in a small keyboard over there. It's nothing fancy. It's, I mean, obviously it's not gonna look like it's as if it belongs there, but this is definitely a step above this one in terms of design. I decided not to include these shapes over here, which are actually molded plastic. I went ahead and did this one so it's a little bit more detail and all that stuff. And that's basically it. That's all the changes I did from here to here. I'm happy with the result. But then again, I was already happy with the result on the first custom. I felt like it was successful enough that it accomplished what I wanted, which is basically to move this into a gun mechanism on top and have this as a sitting area for the Joes. So, in case you didn't see my previous video and wondering if you can put a Joe in here, yes, you can. I believe it was this figure that goes in here. See, even with this one, it even goes much more smoother than this one ever did. And then, of course, you can put the turret in here. Or you can have the Flint figure over here standing up, standing on the chair, and basically just doing the gun thing. So that's not, hasn't changed. That's all the same thing, and all that stuff. There is a difference. One of the difference between these two, by the way, if you'll notice this thing here. For this one, you can actually put it like this and have the figure kind of standing up. This one, you can't. You can still do it, but I guess no, because this one is completely tight. The other thing too is, and you'll see it when I was cutting it, because I created a good lip over here. There's no chance of this one falling over. While as this one, you kind of have to be kind of careful because it doesn't have any kind of support in some areas. So anyway, that's it. That's my second custom of the Vamp. If you look at it from the side from afar, there's literally no difference between the two, which is just fine because I didn't want any more changes. This is perfect for what I wanted. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Watch the rest of the video if you feel like you want to know how I did it. I did things. It's very, very easy. The hardest thing that you're probably going to do is cutting this one part and then finding parts that you got molded plastic over here. Looks like that's kind of loose, so I'll have to tape that up. And this is just printed paper, so no biggie over there. Everything else is very, very easy to do. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys do it yourself and enjoy it, and make your own Vamp your own. So instead of just having a generic one. So stick around for the rest of the video if you want to. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you guys soon on the next video. Goodbye. I'm gonna use an X-Acto knife to create a track so that I can use this and cut it. I'm gonna cut at an angle so that when I pull it off, there's gonna be a lip that when I put this back on, this will catch so it doesn't fall completely through. So I'm gonna, if you'll notice, I'm gonna cut this way at an angle. And then when you cut it slowly. Make sure you're in control, because if you do it too quickly, you might lose control. So just do an even, easy cut. You don't need to be in a hurry. And just do it over and over until you have enough so that you can do this cut afterwards. Right, so the last part you saw me do is just kind of sand off a little bit. I'll sand it off a little bit more so that the edges are a little bit cleaner and all that stuff. But as you can see, because I cut it at an angle, it actually has a lip that is actually staying on now. I'm pretty much satisfied with what I did. The only damage that that occurred was this part right here. It's not as clean as everything else. I don't know why this thing's just, but yeah. But yeah, pretty good. So that's it, and then we'll continue on doing. I'll take this off, and then we'll start doing the cushions. Alright, so I've gone ahead and removed the screws. We're now going to separate the bottom part from the top part of the Jeep. There's a total of 13 screws. There's 5 over here, 4 at the bottom, and then 2 in the rear wheel, and then 2 in the very front. 2 in the rear, front wheel, and then 2 in the very front. Once you remove the screws, it just comes off. There's nothing holding it together, so that's good. So from the first Vamp, cutting this part basically took me about 45 to 50 minutes. That's the hardest part of this build or custom build, because you want to make sure this is clean and everything. So everything else is really very easy. From the previous Vamp custom that I made, I already know what I want to do. I just want to clean up what I did in the first one. So let's start